Well, I just picked up a larger Bonnie Blue flag. Usually you can only find these in 3x5. This is a 4x6, which is actually quite a bit bigger. So 3x5 is 15 square feet, 4x6 is 24. So, I don't know, what is that, about 70% bigger, roughly? You know, it's actually quite a bit bigger, much more noticeable. And there's my little fella cats, I think that's Onyx. It's hard to tell these people, cat people. That probably is Onyx. Onyx and Feather go outside every once in a while. What I'm going to do is, you know, hopefully I'll be ordering that pole pretty soon. I just got the money transfer over. I got to mail it to the bank, and it's going to cost like $2,100 for the pole plus concrete. Plus, I don't know how the hell I'm going to lift it from here to there. It's 40 feet long. This one is 26.5 feet. It's a 30 feet of pole with 3.5 feet sunk into the ground, with maybe a half a foot built up around it, out, you know, the grass area. So literally sunk 44 feet. And what I'm going to do is put the other pole about 8 feet forward to it, and maybe a couple feet that way, and it'll be 13 feet higher. It's going to have an 8x12 flag, which is 96 square feet. And this is a 5x8, which is 40. So the flag is literally going to be 2.4 times bigger. So instead of just, you know, wasting and not using this pole, I'm going to put the Bonnie Blue on it. This has a 5x8 Confederate battle flag, and I'm going to put a 4x6 Bonnie Blue. So they'll be flying together with the light. Oh, here's Mama Cat over there. See, I just put them out because, I don't know, Dixie and the other two kittens of hers, Dixie and Paws, you know, the black cat with the 4 white paws and white feathers, whiskers. See, this is Onyx. Look at, see this guy? He's like a puppy dog. This is definitely him. He's got some dirt on him. He always runs near me like a dog. I swear to God, if this cat had a life in his, you know, if there's reincarnation, I think he used to be a dog and he came back as a cat. So he's always he's hangs around me and Mama. So wherever she goes, he goes, and wherever I go, he follows me. So, well, I like this flag too because it's a nice looking flag with the dark blue background. And I forgot what this cost, but I thought it was a very good deal. But I'm looking at it. This is not just printed on here. This is stitched. This is stitched, and this is some damn heavy freaking material, man. And it's not just double stitched on here; it's quadruple stitched. I'm like, wow, these guys. You know, I can feel the material. It's heavy. You know, it's heavy material. I can tell it's not. And some of the flags, you get a good deal. They're much lighter material. This one's, I was on Amazon someplace. I mean, I don't always get stuff on Amazon, but sometimes I do. Jeff Bezos makes enough money, crying out loud. But yeah, I actually want to point out, you know, even you know, it's weird. You think about it. The elite, the money people, have played groups of people against each other very shrewdly. Back in the 1960s, actually it was 1957, that Congress was formed a committee to have the southern states independently get ready to celebrate the upcoming 100-year anniversary of the war between the states, right? And that's why, you know, they're doing all these parades with the flags, and, you know, the flags went up on the capitals, like in South Carolina. It's a 100-year anniversary of the Battle of Fort Sumter, which is the Yankee tax collection point right smack in the middle of Charleston, South Carolina harbor. That's really what started the firing war, you know. So the battle flag was put on the state capitol in April of 1961 to commemorate the 100-year anniversary. Now, the news media often will tell you, not all of them, but most of them will tell you it was in response to the civil rights movement. That's not true. But, you know, I've already come to the conclusion in my mind that the entire civil rights movement was deliberately timed with the 100-year anniversary of you know, the centennial for the war between the states, to make it look like, you know, it was a major disinformation campaign where both groups, you know, the black and minority group on one side pushed, you know, with the civil rights movement, and the white group, primarily the white group, which is, you know, this Confederacy had some black soldiers, but, you know, it was mainly white Caucasians, you know, that were in the Confederate Army, mainly. But both are seeking to whittle down the powers that are over them. And, you know, I personally think that whole thing was a psych operation by the Tavistock Institute, for one, to get groups playing against each other, because they could have had the civil rights movement back in the 1920s or even earlier. You know, why did they wait? You know, like Brownell, Attorney General Brownell, he was a New York City attorney, big shot New York City attorney. He was the Attorney General for Eisenhower. He pushed for the first Civil Rights Act in 1957, which was the first time they, you know, also formed a committee to encourage each southern state to celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the war. So, and then, you know, like I said on other videos, I don't really like Dr. Martin Luther King. I mean, I know why there's people and white people don't like him, because, you know, he's got a lot of baggage, man. He's not like what he's been pumped up to be. You know, I respected, you know, Malcolm X. I thought, not perfect, but I thought he was much more of a, you know, straight up honest guy and sincere by far. But if you're looking at, you know, a lot what the Confederacy was trying to do with fiscal responsibility, total transparency in government, and you know, having it where the too big to fail monies can't just grab money out of the federal government for subsidies at their will. It has a lot, you know, it coincides with a lot of some of the things that Malcolm X said about, you know, the powers that are behind the scenes. You know, so some ways, if you want to look at that flag as a, you know, a big Malcolm X, red, white, and blue with 13 stars, think of it that way, because maybe that's one way to look at it, even though that's not exactly what it was. Actually, that flag just came about because they're having a hard time differentiating the original Southern Confederate flag between that and a Union flag. You know, so, you know, that's really where it came about. I mean, they said, let's, you know, the X was from Scotland, you know, Scottish flag, whatever. Anyway, I know Malcolm, he put X because he didn't know what his real name was. Some white guy gave him his name Little, Malcolm Little, right? That's what the hell happened, right? I mean, I don't know. The guy, personally, that guy, you know, he's an angry guy, but I kind of liked him. I don't like Martin Luther King, though, man, to tell you the truth. But, you know, I can see why, you know, a lot of southern white Christian people didn't like him. So, you know, that was another thing that they used in the media, in a big power, to get two groups that were basically fighting for the same thing. You know, trying to get their rights, you know, individual rights, and you know, they pitted them against each other, right? That's how it even looks today. You know, this Bonnie blue flag kind of doesn't look like anything. I mean, nobody's really, it's not psychologically associated with the rebel flag, whatever. But, you know, I like the rebel flag. It looks cool, you know. You can tell it's American, red, white, and blue. It's got an X, whatever, Scottish cross, or whatever the hell you want to call it. I mean, fine. But, you know, I like this one, too. And I think they probably should be flown together. One way of looking at it. But we got to get we got to out-shrew the shrewd, and not have them pit groups against each other like they've been doing. You know, pretty difficult. And, you know, I'm not really a fan of law enforcement, but I always have these on my cars because, you know, I'm going to, you know, ask questions and not shoot first. I tell you, I'm not really, I mean, it depends on who it is, man. It's like law enforcement in itself is not something I, you know, really, you know, it depends on who's in the uniform. That's the way I look at it, 100%. But, you know, I always have this on my cars so maybe don't kill me, you know. That's how I do it. That's really what I do. But I have this on here. Now, you know, I like people to understand what this was about. This was really whittling down the power of the money, whereby, you know, the robber barons, or the captains of industry as they call themselves, used to have, you know, unbridled access to government funds and regulations that they could be put into law to stifle competition that would go against, you know, the monopolistic, capitalistic, entrepreneurial rackets that they have. In other words, you know, the Commerce Act was really pushed by the railroads to, you know, stifle competition from upstart railroads, right? I don't want to go too long on this, but just that the point is that they use what appear to be opposite groups that are really striving for the same thing, and they pit them against each other. And you know, the answer isn't communism. I'm telling you right now, man. I swear to God, you know, it gets me, because they look at what's going on in the United States and they say, well, the capitalistic system is owned by a few people. Well, you know what? That's true. But the Confederate Constitution was trying to whittle that down. If you look at all the financial angles in the Confederate Constitution, not the one that they emphasize, all the financial angles, it was to whittle down the big money powers. Now, what we got in the United States, in effect, actually since the end of the war between the states, is ruled by a few oligarchs. You could tell who won the war. It wasn't necessarily the North, it was the oligarchs of the North. And then it became into the Gilded Age, or the age of the robber barons, or the captains of industry, where they got filthy rich, like the Vanderbilts, you know, the Rockefellers, you know, Carnegie and all that, you know. They got all filthy rich. And so a lot of people say this system's no good because it's all going in the hands of the few. But that's because of how they're using the government to policies and also subsidies from the government to help them out. Like those railroads weren't all built with their own money, the railroad money. They were subsidized with right-of-way and free land they stole from the Western Plains Indians and all this other stuff. Now, that's ruled by a few. That's what the Confederate Constitution was trying to whittle down. Communism? Yeah, they tell you it's freaking, you know, it's everybody owns everything, but the reality is it actually is ruled by the few again. It's the same thing with Nazism, fascism. You know, you really only got two types of freaking serious government that freaking hold together for a while. One's a republic of laws with limited government, very limited government, or you got ruled by a few, an oligarchy. A king is still not even ruled by one. A king has his advisors. That's why I've got a little, you know, I mean, obviously I couldn't take Hillary over Trump, but I get a little mad at these people would, you know, get too much behind Trump, because it's like their oligarchy team. You know, it's like we got to get back to principles of finance to whittle down the powers over us. And you know, communists, the same deal. I mean, they own everything. You know, fascists, they own everything. And yeah, it might work for a while. You could have a dictator that could live and reign for 60 years and everything would be great. The first yo-yo that comes in after him, that's the opposite of him. He's going to undo everything inside of a few years. So the only thing that really works is a constitutional republic, but it takes people with brains to keep that rolling correctly. And it also takes people with fortitude, work ethic, and you know, an entrepreneurial spirit within themselves, that they're just going to do their own stuff. They're not going to say, I got to depend on the government to do something for me. You know, I'm always doing stuff. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm getting ahead, but I'm doing something. Anyway, over there. Here's Boots the Confederate cat, and that's Mama. Here's, wait a minute. God, Mama looks so much. No, that's Onyx. That's Onyx. It's the boy. That's Mama right there. Wherever the hell she's going. So, time to give him some treats. Right? There you go. You still got that dirt on him. I was trying to wipe that off with a cloth yesterday. Wet damp cloth. Freaking, I don't know where the hell he gets all this dirt on him. Here's Mama, right? Yeah. Look at that cricket. Confederate cat farm here. Right? Yeah. Should be coming inside again. I said he hangs around her. They're playing. They're playing. He comes over to visit, so he's still fine. Right? For a bunch of treats once in a while. Sometimes I give him treats. I don't give him treats every day, so I'm freaking having a cow, you know. They're fully nutritious. He likes them though. He gets his wet food and all that other stuff. He's doing good. Right? No wounds on him or anything. It seems like he's calming down more in his old age. He's been coming around here for like over 3 years, 3.5 years now, I think. And maybe I'll bring him in if it gets cold out too. So he might be 9 cats inside.